So, I got a haircut today. That's why I'm not wearing a hat this time. But what's going on, everyone? It's Nick, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, or if you've already been subscribed, welcome back. Before we begin, please remember to like the video. Really helps out, and it only takes 1 second to do. Also, please remember to subscribe if you are new here. I cover basketball, baseball, and football on this channel, so if you love sports, this is the place for you. And hit that notification bell. And finally, I know I'm a little late on this, at least a lot later than a lot of other NBA YouTubers, but finally I'm here with my trade deadline grades. Gonna go over everything, or at least I think I'm going over everything. If I miss anything, just please let me know. But we're gonna go over the trade deadline today. Wow, was this a frenzy? But okay, let's play the intro and then let's talk about the trade deadline. So yeah, I'm a little late on this because I was asleep when the trade deadline ended. Then I wanted to watch games and I decided I want to go get a haircut. So yeah, now that we got all that out of the way. Okay, so another tough loss for the Lakers without LeBron and AD. Really hope these guys can get healthy as soon as possible. But Danny Green and Dwight Howard getting their rings. Although, imagine getting ejected the night you got your ring. Although, I really don't think Dwight Howard should have been ejected. I think that was total BS, but whatever. That's for another video or another discussion. So, first trade I want to talk about. The Chicago Bulls landing Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and 2 first-round picks. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, you gotta be on cloud 9 right now, right? I imagine so. To me, this should put the Bulls in firm position to make the playoffs right now. The Bulls are currently the 10th seed in the East. I really do think that they should at least be able to make it up to 7th and make the playoffs through the play-in tournament at the very least, but wouldn't even be surprised to see them get as high as 6th, to be honest. And the Bulls also got Daniel Theis. Not a bad backup center if you ask me, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So for the Magic, yeah, they're in full tank mode right now as they traded Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier. We'll talk about the other guys as well later on, but hey, it makes a Lakers Magic game a lot more winnable for the Lakers without LeBron and AD, so I'm happy about that because the Lakers have been really struggling lately without their star players. And then they got 2 very winnable games coming up against the Cavs and the Magic, so I give the Bulls an A on this one, and the Magic I'd say a D. They got 2 first-round picks, but for Vucevic, I think they should have asked for more. The Bulls win big here, and they got a massive upgraded center from Vucevic over Wendell Carter Jr. So next, also involving the Orlando Magic, Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets did take a hit from losing Jeremy Grant in the offseason, although they have played better as of late. They're only a game and a half behind the Lakers, but at least the Lakers have 2 very winnable games coming up, but still. With the Lakers star players out, yeah, it is kind of scary at the moment, but as soon as LeBron and AD are back, should be fine. But okay, we gotta talk about the trade deadline though. So, Aaron Gordon, sure, he's not as good as Jeremy Grant, we know, but to fill in that void, I don't think it's too bad. And I also do think that Aaron Gordon is a better defender than he's given credit for. Nuggets also got Gary Clark, but he won't really do anything for them. Getting Aaron Gordon is what really matters. And Nikola Jokic throwing lobs to Aaron Gordon. That is must-watch basketball. For anyone who hasn't turned on Nuggets games yet, and I haven't really watched many myself, but I definitely want to watch some Nuggets games now. On the Magic side of the trade, Gary Harris and RJ Hampton with a 2025 first-round pick. Yeah, I think the Magic should have sold higher on Aaron Gordon as well. They get an F on this one. The first-round pick is 4 years from now, and it is a protected pick, so if it's a high pick, the Nuggets could even keep that pick. Also, Gary Harris hasn't been good in a while. He used to be a sharpshooter, but now he only shoots 32% from 3. He's also injury prone, and he's older than Aaron Gordon, so the Magic are just really screwing up big time here. So lastly, with the Magic, Evan Fournier to the Boston Celtics for Jeff Teague and 2 second-rounders. The Celtics got some bench depth, but he still won't be the guy that'll completely turn this team around. They got rid of Jeff Teague, who was just a misfit with the team, and it's not like we'll see the Jeff Teague of old in Orlando, like the one that was an all-star in 2015. I'd be shocked if we see anything close to that in Orlando. Maybe closer to that than what he was in Boston, but not by much. But Fournier is having a career year this year, and with the return the Magic got, yeah, once again, the Magic lost his trade. Celtics get a B+, and the Magic get an F. Fournier looks like he'll only be a rental though, as he's on an expiring contract, and the Celtics don't have the cap space to re-sign him, as they are currently negative $23 million in cap space. But you know what though, the Magic really set themselves up to be in full tank mode right now with all the really bad moves they made. They've been totally incompetent since the Dwight Howard trade. Trading Victor Oladipo for Serge Ibaka after Oladipo's third season, Tobias Harris for Brandon Jennings and Ersan Ilyasova? Yeah, they did this to themselves. If any Orlando Magic fans happen to be watching this, I'm so sorry for you. You guys deserve better. But back to the Nuggets before we move on. JaVale McGee is heading back to Denver, where he had his best individual seasons. Good for him to be back on a playoff team too, and I would definitely take him as a backup center. The Nuggets are coming out as big time winners in this trade deadline to me, and what the Cavs got back, I don't think it'll really mean much of anything, to be honest. Now, speaking of the Daniel Theis trade that I mentioned earlier, so wait, the Wizards really traded Mo Wagner? And they got back Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson? Wait, what did they think they were doing? Bradley Beal, you need to get out of Washington now. You are wasting your career there. And how's Scott Brooks still the head coach of the team? The Bulls, once again, they won here by getting rid of Daniel Gafford and Luke Cornett. The Bulls also got Troy Brown, who was okay last year, but nothing this year. Bulls get a B. I'd say the Celtics get a B-. Wizards get a D. Now on to the LA Clippers, trading Lou Williams and 2 second-rounders for Rajon Rondo. Okay, I'm gonna admit it now. I am scared to face the Clippers in the playoffs. Even with LeBron and AD healthy, I am scared to face playoff Rondo. I had the privilege of having playoff Rondo on my team last year, but now having to face that, okay, yeah, I'm actually legitimately scared. Now, Rondo may not be what he was in Boston anymore, but still, he brings those intangibles, and he brings that vocal leader that the Clippers have desperately needed. And he may have been nothing for the Hawks, but you know what? He was also looked at as a negative for the Lakers in the regular season until the playoffs. And he didn't light up the box score in the playoffs, but it was the intangibles that he brought and the secondary playmakers that made him so valuable for the Lakers in the playoffs last year. And even before last year in the playoffs, also with the Bulls, had he not gotten hurt, the Bulls very easily could have upset the Celtics in the first round as an 8th seed, because he was playing out of his mind for the Bulls in the playoffs that year. And he was looked at as a negative during the regular season with the Bulls too. With the Pelicans, he had a big part in getting the team out of the second round for the only time with Anthony Davis there. So yeah, the Clippers finally got what they desperately needed. Now, looks like that video that I made of the Clippers still having serious problems, it's not aging well. But I think I also did say that they need to make a trade in order for them to get out of the second round. Well, they made that trade, so yeah, if I were a Clippers fan, perhaps now you really can be optimistic. For the Hawks, hey, Lou Williams can go back to Magic City now. Well, he does provide them bench scoring, we know, but he's just too much of a liability on defense, and I'd say that the Clippers moving on from him was the right decision. As much as Lou Williams has done a lot for the Clippers franchise, he's a big reason why what the Clippers have built since last year is even possible, but it was just time to move on from him because he's just too much of a liability on defense, and when he's not scoring, he doesn't bring anything else to the table. But will he actually retire like he's claimed that if the Clippers trade him, he'll retire? I don't think so, because I think he does still have something left in the tank though. But I just really like this trade for the Clippers because it gives them that vocal leader. So Clippers get an A+ on this. The Hawks, hey, they got a bench score and they've been playing better as of late, so I think I'd still give them an A. I mean, it's not like they're winning a championship this year, obviously, but they got a good player, so, and it's not like Rondo was doing anything for them, so I don't blame the Hawks for making this trade. Now we got Norman Powell to the Portland Portland Trailblazers for Rodney Hood and Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr., to me, he's a dark horse contender for most improved player and probably did even more that you could have asked out of him when CJ McCollum went out with an injury. Very good pickup for the Raptors, who've fallen off a cliff lately. The Raptors also did save a ton of money. Norman Powell, yes, he's a better player than Gary Trent Jr., but Gary Trent Jr. is so much cheaper because Gary Trent Jr. is criminally underpaid. He's making under $2 million this year. Yeah, under $2 million. Rodney Hood hasn't played well at all this year, but he was only thrown in so that the salaries would match. For the Blazers though, Norman Powell has a player option at the end of this year and they're way over the luxury tax, so at least they got rid of Rodney Hood's contract. But because Norman Powell is very likely a rental and they gave up a very good player in Gary Trent Jr., I would say the Raptors won here, so B+ for the Raptors and B for the Blazers. Then we got Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat for Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and pick swaps? Oh my, the Rockets just did the Heat a huge favor. Heat getting an A on this and the Rockets get an F. That's really what the Rockets ended up getting for James Harden? Come on now. You had to trade James Harden, I get that. But you could have done a lot better than this. Stephen Silas, why'd you have to walk into this situation? You pretty much chose to play with fire by taking this job. And I get that the Rockets were not re-signing Oladipo as he's entering free agency, but still, you just did the Miami Heat a huge favor. You played yourselves. And the Heat also got Nemanja Bjelica from the Kings for Mo Harkless and Chris Silva. If Bjelica can regain his three-point shooting prowess with the Heat, that's another big W for the Heat. Harkless and Silva pretty much had no use for them anyways. I don't really know what to give the Kings for this though, but either way, yeah, the Kings are going nowhere for a while, even with De'Aaron Fox. Then we have OKC getting Tony Bradley, Austin Rivers, and 2 Philly second rounders. The Knicks getting Terrence Ferguson, and the Sixers getting George Hill and Iggy Brazdeikis. Now, since the Derrick Rose trade for the Knicks, Austin Rivers has fallen out of the rotation, so good for him to be on a team where he can get minutes again. George Hill, yes, he's a good role player, but he doesn't give the Sixers the shot creator that they really need. Yeah, Tobias Harris has been a decent shot creator, but it's not like he's been a great shot creator, and the Sixers could use another one, or even better to really elevate themselves. I still take Philly as a winner here though. OKC getting rid of George Hill is really nothing to them since this is a rebuilding season for them anyways, and they just got more draft capital. For the Knicks, not really much to say about it, to be honest. Next we have the Pelicans and the Mavericks, but no Lonzo Ball is not getting traded. Wow, after all the reports that were coming out, he's staying right where he is. I don't know if he's going to buy in now, but on with this trade. JJ Redick, whose age is finally starting to catch up to him, although he's still shooting at a respectable 36% from 3, just not at the elite level he used to shoot it at, is going to the Mavericks with Nicolo Mello, and the Pelicans are getting James Johnson, Wes Iwundu, and a second-round pick. The Pelicans got rid of JJ's contract. Mavs got someone who can still be a knockdown shooter. I'd say a B for both teams, although the Pelicans are still in no man's land. The last trade I have is Delon Wright to the Kings for Corey Joseph and a second rounder. Delon Wright is putting up 10 points per game for the Pistons. I don't really know with this one, but if you think I'm undervaluing this, you can let me know in the comments. For me, I don't really have anything to make out of this. So that's it with the trade. Now, the word is that the Cavs are buying out Andre Drummond. I guess I couldn't think of a more Cleveland Cavaliers thing to happen because he does still have trade value. He's still a walking double-double. Unlike Blake Griffin, he still has trade value. So, okay, can the Lakers please go get him? Please, 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 please. Get Andre Drummond. I don't know if the Lakers will, but I would really love to have him. If not, since LaMarcus Aldridge is also getting bought out by the Spurs, I'll take him. Although it looks like the Miami Heat are frontrunners for LaMarcus Aldridge, so that would make the Heat even bigger winners at the deadline. So the biggest winners in no order at the trade deadline to me are the Bulls, the Heat, the Clippers, and the Nuggets. The biggest loser is definitely the Orlando Magic, and the Washington Wizards and Houston Rockets are also losers at the trade deadline as well. So that's it for this video. Again, if you liked the video, please remember to hit the like button. Only takes 1 second. Really helps out. Also, please remember to subscribe if you still haven't yet and you've made it up to this point, and also hit that notification bell for when I upload in the future. And let me know in the comments what you think about all the trades that went down. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you next time.